Hello, everybody. This is the Wrestling Matters Podcast, Episode 6, and I am your host, Juwan the Don. Today we'll cover UFC 257 Fight Week results, including Chiesa versus Magny and McGregor versus Poirier. We'll also cover Division I match results in college wrestling, including the Big Ten and overall All-American college wrestling. And then we're also going to briefly go over what to watch next, what's next thing to look out for you guys. So with no further avail, let's get right into it today. And we're going to cover UFC 257 first. And that would be Dustin Poirier defeating Conor McGregor via second-round TKO. Poirier landed a nice single-leg back trip takedown about 30 to 35 seconds into the fight. After tiring out Conor with the wrestling, he eventually attacked Conor McGregor's lead leg with calf kicks and then ultimately swarmed him with punches. And it was a right hook that landed right on the nose, right on the button, and put Conor McGregor to sleep. And this is the first time Conor McGregor's ever been knocked out in a pro fight. So this was very interesting to see. I was very excited. I kind of predicted this. You know, we had past questions for the show. People are wondering, would Poirier try to wrestle McGregor? Would he use his grappling? And who would win? And I would just like to remind you guys, we predicted here at the Wrestling Matters Podcast that Poirier would win. And as far as the wrestling goes, I kind of had a feeling he would get a takedown or two. And I thought he had the grappling advantage. I knew that ultimately wouldn't be what he beat him with, but it's a very effective method for tiring him out. So shout out to Dustin Poirier, doing great things. He's the heart of the UFC. Yeah, he attacked all facets of the body. You know, you get the takedown. Conor was able to get to the fence and get to his feet, but he wasted a lot of energy having to wrestle Dustin Poirier, and I don't think he was expecting it. He was so caught off guard on the shot. Poirier level changed, and McGregor had a look on his face like, what are we doing? So versus when Conor McGregor fought Khabib, he was expecting the shot. So when Khabib shot, he had his hips ready, and he was able to defend Khabib off him for a while. He had no defense available for Dustin Poirier. Poirier got he got his hips to the party, back trip, nice control, good takedown. Boom. Then the lead calf. He starts attacking the lead leg, mashing up that calf like it's potatoes. You heard Conor after the fight looking for the stool. He said, me calf, me leg, give me a seat. So Poirier looked amazing. I don't think Khabib's going to come out of retirement. I didn't see anything that would draw his attention. But Poirier's the guy. I think the takedown was very essential to throwing off Conor's game plan. He wasn't expecting it. McGregor landed big shots early. Don't think that McGregor's just some scrub and he laid down out there. Watch the fight. McGregor threw big shots. He landed big left hands on Poirier, but Poirier's chin it held up, and Poirier's chin proved to be ready. So McGregor landed big shots. I think he was discouraged to see that his big shots were not as effective as he expected them to. And I think they were very effective. I think this was just his fight to win. I think Poirier was going to come through regardless of how this scenario went. Also on this card in the co-main, we had former NCAA Division I Wrestling All-American and former Bellator MMA champ Michael Chandler made his UFC debut in stunning fashion, knocking out, at the time, 6th-ranked UFC lightweight Dan Hooker. Michael Chandler debuts at number 4 in the lightweight rankings for the UFC this week. You know, that's a generous ranking, but, he had a great performance. I think he only landed like 17 strikes in order to knock out Dan Hooker. So Michael Chandler has entered the chat, and he has welcomed himself to the party. So we'll see where he's at. And I think the correct answer at the lightweight division in the UFC is going to be Dustin Poirier versus Charles Oliveira for the vacant title. I don't want to see Michael Chandler fighting for the belt. I don't want to see Justin Gaethje fighting for the belt. I'm sorry. Gaethje lost his last fight. Michael Chandler has not fought for more than 5 minutes in the UFC. Now Poirier just beat Dan Hooker in a war, and then Poirier just became the first person to knock out Conor McGregor. Before that, his loss was to Khabib. If you lose to Khabib, you need to get at least 2 more wins under your belt before you're in title contention. That goes for Gaethje. Oliveira is on a 7-fight winning streak. He hasn't lost since he lost to Paul Felder in 2017, 2016, something like that. In Oliveira's last 2 fights, he has a submission win over Kevin Lee, and then he has a dominant unanimous decision victory over Tony Ferguson. So to me, those are the clear top 2 contenders, is Dustin Poirier and Charles Oliveira. I think they should fight for the vacant title if Khabib's out. Michael Chandler's in the loom. He looms in the back, and he's obviously going to be ready, but I think he needs to prove himself a little bit more. Okay, moving on from that fight, the headline of the prelim at UFC 257 was Matt Frivola taking a loss to Arman Sarkouyan. Arman landed 10 of 12 takedowns. He also doubled Frivola in significant and total strikes. Dominant performance. Okay, now reeling it back a little bit, guys. We didn't get an episode in to cover this, but on the Wednesday, January 20th card, in the main event, Michael Chiesa beat Neil Magny by unanimous decision. Chiesa is now ranked 6th in the welterweight division, and moving up a weight class has paid off dividends for him, and he can focus on getting to his grappling transitions without being deflated from the weight cut. And I'm not gonna preach this too much, but it's been a big talking point on the Wrestling Matters podcast, and this is specifically directed towards the youth. Let's not cut too much weight, guys. I don't want you guys to cut so much weight that we're taking away from our capabilities and our performance. Okay, Michael Chiesa is a guy that was fighting at lightweight, 155 pounds, the most loaded division in the world. He moves up to 170, and now it's closer to his natural weight. So he isn't focused on his weight cutting. He's focused on putting his full energy into his performance out there, and it showed. Chiesa looked great. Chiesa is now ranked 6th in the welterweight division, as said. Chiesa landed 4 of 6 takedowns. He got right to his wrestling. He got 4 of 6 takedowns, and I know a couple of them he reversed. Magny shot in on him, and he was able to stick the landing. So Chiesa lands 4 of 6 takedowns. He also landed 93 strikes to Magny's 52. Neil Magny landed only 1 of 3 takedown attempts and 12 significant strikes in this 5-round fight. A bad matchup for Magny. He's going to have to come with it and come altogether better in the future, but I don't think it was a good matchup for him. Chiesa looks tough. I mean, it was a good fight. But he got ragdolled a little bit. He got ragdolled by Chiesa. Loaded prelim card. This Saturday on the McGregor card, from the prelims, we have submission victories from Umar Nurmagomedov, who I believe is the younger cousin of Khabib, and he had Khabib in his corner. He looked great. Omari Akhmedov had a submission victory, and also Ricky Simon, who I've heard Chael Sonnen talk about. Ricky Simon, someone to watch out for. They all had submission wins on those prelim cards. Though they're all very big prospects and names to watch in the organization, and be looking for those guys to take the next step up. Also look out for Mike Davis, who got a win. He had a very tough fight. I think he actually wasn't leading the striking category, but he was able to get, 3 takedowns approximately and land over 100 strikes in a fight of the night effort. And Mike Davis caught me off guard because he had a lot of respect for his opponent. He said that's the toughest guy he fought. Now, when I look, and if you do a little bit of homework, you see that Mike Davis of the UFC, who's a current lightweight right now, he only has 2 pro losses. And those pro losses are to the number 1 welterweight contender, Gilbert Burns. So that's the guy that's the number 1 guy up a weight he lost the fight to. And then the number 10 guy, the number 10 featherweight, Sodiq Yusuff. And that fight against Sodiq Yusuff was very close. And it was actually on Dana White's Contender Series looking for a fight. So both of these guys are valuable assets to the UFC, and they actually met each other on the Contender Series Tuesday night. Dana White looking for a fight. So He's only lost the top 10 guys that aren't in his weight. So Mike Davis is someone that I would keep an eye out for just because he's tough as nails. And I wouldn't count out a guy like that. I wouldn't count out a guy like that. All right, and that's pretty much it for the UFC 257. McGregor looked kind of sad. I hate to say it, but it is what it is. Okay, also in fight news and in wrestling news and overall combat sports news, Ben Askren versus Jake Paul has been confirmed for an 8-round boxing exhibition fight on April 17th of 2021. That's very exciting news and it's a big opportunity for the wrestling community to get some respect put on our name potentially if Ben Askren goes out there and does what he's capable of and what he's supposed to do. I see a lot of people's take on this is, Ben Askren, you better do this for us, and we need you, and you need to put him in. I don't really buy into that. You got to be careful doing that, guys, because that's what it's just a very backwards way of thinking. So that's what they said about Nate Robinson. Come on, Nate, you got us. You got to do that for us, for the NBA players, for the basketball players. No, it's not a thing, guys. You can't do that. Same way, and Adrian Broner, boxer, he wanted to do it for the hood. And there's some people that bet on Adrian Broner to beat Pacquiao a couple years ago. And they needed him to do it for black people. It's not a thing, guys. It's on a one-on-one sport. You can't get into the build-up and the hype. You can, obviously, but if you actually want there to be a fair fight, you want two human beings that are focused on the task at hand, and it's a competition. So, Ben Askren, I really like Ben Askren. As far as his hands, I don't think his hands are that good. But I know he can take a punch. I've seen him be punched by Robbie Lawler. I've seen him ragdoll men. I've seen him squeeze a watermelon and crush it. So Ben Askren's a freak. He'll always be goated. He's an Olympian. He's a 4-time NCAA finalist, 2-time Hodge Trophy winner. For those of you who don't know what the Hodge Trophy is, it's like the Heisman to college wrestling. So there's no Askren slander. And here's another thing too. A lot of people think that he's just a meme that got knocked out by Masvidal when that was his first MMA loss. So look, guys, please don't buy into the fake news about Ben Askren. Ben Askren's a wrestler. If you have a question about Ben Askren, ask the Wrestling Matters podcast, okay? This is an Olympian. This guy made the Olympic team for wrestling. This guy went out to the Olympics and won a match. He didn't win the Olympics, but he won matches in the Olympics. This is a guy that 4-time finalist in college D1 wrestling, 2-time champ, 2-time Hodge Trophy winner. This dude's a Bellator champ. This guy is the ONE FC champ. And in his UFC debut, he submitted Robbie Lawler, former UFC champion. So I think Ben Askren takes this serious and he becomes a boxer in a short time and he beats Jake Paul. I'm gonna go out of my way and predict. It's early. We're probably gonna do a full episode dedicated to this, but this is just a little side rant. I think Ben Askren, 4th round TKO, 5th round TKO. I think he beats Jake Paul. Jake Paul's strong, and he's boxing. But I'm interested. Take my money. I'll watch. But I don't support any Ben Askren slander. No. Do your homework. He's the man. Jake Paul has a puncher's chance. We'll see. And that's that. I mean, I think a lot of people didn't see that coming, but it is what it is as far as Askren and Jake Paul being confirmed. All right, there'll be no UFC this weekend. No, I'll look for MMA. I don't think the Bellator has anything going on. I know Valerie Laredo is supposed to be fighting soon. I saw that she had a fight confirmed. I have to get the date on that one to be sure. February 6th will be the next UFC event, and that'll be a heavyweight main event. Alistair Overeem versus Alexander Volkov. Very experienced guys. Guys, a lot of fight under their belts. A guy with 40 fights versus a guy with 60 fights. So let's see how it goes. Also in that co-main, you have Corey Sandhagen and Frankie Edgar. Those are very highly touted guys that are winners, probably close to, if not going to get a title shot. And also on this card, you have Carlos Diego Ferreira and you have Beneil Dariush. That's very exciting, and I'm interested if that goes to the mat, how the grappling works. But that's something to look ahead to. Dariush is a wrestler from Iran who's ranked in the UFC at lightweight, and then Carlos Diego Ferreira is a jiu-jitsu specialist who's very good. He's very good. And I don't know where he's ranked exactly, and I know he's switched weight class a little bit, but he's very tough. So we'll be on the lookout for that. All right, guys, with no further avail, let's get right into some wrestling results. Okay, I'll go to some team scores and then ranked upset matches or relevant match scores, I'd like to tell you. First score to go over is NC State 27 over Pittsburgh 6. At 165, number 14, Thomas Bullard of NC State got a win over number 6, Jake Wenzel of Pittsburgh by a decision 4-3. At 197, Isaac Trumbull from NC State got a 6-1 win over number 5, Nino Bonacorsi from Pittsburgh. That's a huge upset. Another team score today, Virginia Tech 19 over Virginia 15. Headed to the Big Ten. Illinois gets a 19-17 win over Purdue. Upsets in the duel at 174 pounds. DJ Shannon from Illinois with a 2-1 decision victory over number 12, Emil Sonlin of Purdue. At 184, number 14, Max Line of Purdue got a 4-3 decision win over number 7, Zach Bronigal of Illinois. Tough, close matches in the Big Ten, always. Another team scored, Nebraska 26, Northwestern 10. Fun match of there was 197, number 3, Eric Schultz of Nebraska over number 6, Lucas Davidson, Northwestern decision 3-2. It's a potential NCAA quarterfinal. Who knows, if not a semi. Missouri 24, Northern Illinois 12, 165, and Ben Askren product, Keegan O'Toole, Missouri, over number 20, Isaac Olenek, Northern Illinois, decision 5-1. Another team score, Iowa State 18, Oklahoma 16. At 141, number 5, Ian Parker from Iowa State over number 7, Dom Demas, Oklahoma 4-3. At 174, number 21, Julian Broderson, Iowa State over number 9, Anthony Mantanona of Oklahoma, decision 4-3. So yeah, Mantanona's having a tough year for Oklahoma, but look for him and Demas to get back on track. Another score here, Northern Iowa 23, Oklahoma 13. All right. And upsets here at 133 for UNI, Kyle Biscoglia, decision number 15. Anthony Madrigal, Oklahoma, 3-1. Also at 174, you have Lance Runyon from UNI with a fall over number 9, Anthony Mantanona, in 209. Like I said, Mantanona will get back on track before it's too late. Ohio State, my sleeper team to get back in the mix this year, with a 19-14 win over Rutgers. At 149, number 1, Sammy Sasso had an 11-5 decision win over Mike Van Brill. At 157, Robert Kennard of Rutgers beat number 25, Elijah Cleary, 7-5 in sudden victory. And at 184, John Posnasky, true freshman, or is redshirt freshman? Freshman John Posnasky from Rutgers over number 8, Rocky Jordan from Ohio State. And your score there was 9-6 in a back-and-forth match. And then this has been good news for the Buckeyes here. 197, Gavin Hoffman, Ohio State, over number 14, Billy Janzer, Rutgers, 3-2. All right, another score we have is Wisconsin 22 over Purdue 14. And in that duel, there was the big upset, and that was Eric Barnett of Wisconsin over number 3, Devin Schroeder, Purdue, and that was a fall at 429. And I kind of liked one of the comments I saw. They said, is that really an upset? Barnett came out of high school, the number 1 recruit, and Schroeder's chipped away towards that high ranking. So I'm not. It's early for the Big Ten, especially as far as 125. Looking for that second guy behind Spencer Lee. It's too early to decide. I like Dylan Ragusin from Michigan, and I like Malik Heinzelman from Ohio State, but it's too early to decide. This weekend, there is college wrestling on the Big Ten Network, the ACC Network, ESPN+, BTN+, and Flow Wrestling. Iowa versus Illinois will be at noon Sunday on the Big Ten Network. If you have cable, check that out. If not, check your listings. You never know. There might be some wrestling on. I was watching the Chicago Sports Network, and they had the UNI Oklahoma duel on after the Bulls game. Now, I don't know how they had the rights to it, but hey, check your TV. You never know if there'll be some wrestling on. Check the TV, guys. Search, see where it's at. Also, Saturday, Oklahoma State versus Northern Iowa, live on Flow Wrestling. Ohio State wrestles Michigan State today. A lot of good wrestling going on, guys. Make sure to pay attention and try to get a scope of what's going on, because March Madness will be here before us, as we creep into February this week. Also, no UFC this weekend. The UFC will return next week, as I said earlier, with Overeem versus Volkov. And all right, guys, that's all for me. I'm your host, Juwan the Don, and this is the Wrestling Matters Podcast. Thank you.